we test the disk in Mageia. With Sysbench we evaluate random access, and the results were the best seen up to this point. We go to the official website to download the image. We choose the classic 64-bit installer. We wait and burn the image. You can use Ventoy or any burner. We boot the installer. It will detect and configure the PC, and then load the software. Then we select the language, for example English, accept the license and choose the location. In my case, I select Guatemala. Now, date and time. We choose the proper keyboard layout and will use Erase Disk as always, but it gives a fat error code. We select Custom, then erase each of the disk partitions. After that, we select Auto Allocate, but it gives the same error. We erase everything, create a small partition with FAT32. Now Auto Allocate creates the needed partitions, but error shows. We make sure that the mount point is boot EFI for the FAT32 partition. Then we try once again, and always the same error. Even if it says it needs FAT32, we will configure the partition as EFI GPT. We accept changes, but the boot error is back. As it asks for FAT32, we create a Windows EFI partition, set boot EFI mount point, and now it worked correctly. Then we leave the option none because we will use the core installer along with none-free. Then the system install begins. At the end of the installation comes the post-install setup. We enter the root password and create a new user and pass. Then we leave all options by default: monitor, system, hardware, and network and internet. Now it installs the bootloader. It asks if we want to download the update media. We say yes. It downloads it and then asks if it installs it. We say yes. The system boots for the first time. The login manager appears. We enter the user and password. Then setup ends and enters. It shows the welcome screen, giving us info about media, updates, MCC, installers, applications, and configuration settings. Next, we check the desktop, panel, and menu. It brings the default apps. We open the terminal and increase the font size. We install with URPME, but it has no sudo. We enter root and run vsudo, verify that wheel is there, exit and add user. Having sudo privileges for our user, we proceed to install the fastfetch and sysbench packages to perform the execution. We run fastfetch. The kernel has a recent version. Idle memory is average and disk megabytes per package are quite low. Now we execute commands to review the data. We check the boot time minus the firmware time, which turns out to be average. Then we run Sysbench to evaluate the system. We test the CPU using a single thread. The result of this test was average. We ran the test with the CPU, but with 5 threads to check the concurrency management. A good result was accomplished. Now, we test threads directly with Sysbench to evaluate how the system handles concurrency. The final result was average. Now, we evaluate the mutexes to check the log handling efficiency using 5 threads. The result in comparison was good. We will evaluate the memory reading, this to check how the operating system handles it. The reading result was excellent. Now we test the memory writing to evaluate the speed at which data is written. The result obtained was considered very good. Then we prepare the necessary files to test input and output. The sequential write speed obtained turned out to be average. We run Sysbench, but indicating that it is to evaluate random file IO, meaning hard drive input and output best result ever. Now we run the top command. We run Firefox to analyze the memory consumption per browser tab without loading extensions. Then we open a second tab loading a video. With this, we want to measure average memory usage when opening several windows. We open a third and a fourth tab. Then we calculate the average memory consumed per tab. The average outcome was average. We run MCC, then select hardware, then graphical server, select the NVIDIA card architecture. Mine happens to be Maxwell. We install, then we click OK, then exit. Select that. We do configure the server, close MCC, and then restart the computer. It should be loading the NVIDIA module, but it froze completely. It is most likely due to having two cards. We enter TTY with Ctrl-Alt-F1 or F2, log in as root, run MCC in terminal, look for display and change to NVIDIA mode setting. Upon restarting, we open terminal. Try NVIDIA SME, but it does not work. We install mageia-prime. After installing, we reboot. Upon booting now, it did load the module correctly. The proof is that it boots. We enter the password and open terminal. We run GL Mark II, and it uses the default card to render, which is the Intel card. Build measures driver and GPU capability. Effect 2D evaluates accelerated 2D rendering. Desktop simulates a real desktop environment to measure compositor performance. Refract simulates light refraction through transparent surfaces. The score obtained by the Intel graphics card is excellent. Using environment variables, offload and vendor, we run GL Mark II to render with NVIDIA. Texture checks, texture load, and access. With the jellyfish test, it renders many moving semi-transparent objects. Shadow evaluates dynamic shadow projection tasks. Loop evaluates loop efficiency inside shaders with a lot of load. The score obtained by the NVIDIA card was really good. Hashcat to test CUDA is not in any repository. We download the binary from the website and install 7-zip to unpack everything. We run Hashcat, which evaluates CUDA by calculating hashes. MD5 is fast and old, used for compatibility. SHA-1 is more secure. SHA-256 offers better cryptographic protection. SHA-5112 uses a longer length. The average performance result was excellent. The evaluation of Mageia 10 has ended. Now we will turn off the system to share the conclusion from the tests performed. In conclusion, Mageia 10 reminded me of the old school Linux, both the installer and the general look. It has good compatibility. It is not a lightweight distro, but its high performance puts it in 4th place. In ranking, graphics got the 3rd place. That is all for this video. If you liked it, subscribe, leave a like and turn on notifications. See you in the next video.